Michael Parsons, Dallas Cowboys superstar. In order for Ant-Man to bring Parsons back some shoes for Game 6, you got to get back to Game 6. Game 6 obviously would be in Dallas. First, they got to win Game 5 in Minnesota. So 2-5, you talk to me. Do you expect the T-Wolves to make it a series? Again, I remind you at home, I remind you to my right, teams that have gone down 0-3. 155 times that has happened, and no team has ever come back to win the series. But do you expect the T-Wolves to at least make it a competitive series?
I do. Who's that, Jeezy?
I do.
Yeah, I think so. When I watch this game, and I feel like when they play their best ball, they play their best team ball, right? It was a lot last night. You see Ant-Man going right to the basket early in the game, right? I ain't waiting. I ain't passing. There was sometimes where the guys was open, right? And normally he would pass it out because that's the right play to do. LeBron James always talks about, I'm always going to make the right play. Well, sometimes you got to go Kobe Bryant style, right? Or Michael Jordan style. We compare him, why not? There was times where he was putting the game in his own hands. Yes, I know you open the corner. I'm not passing it. And he was so determined last night to win this game. I got to get another credit to somebody.
Who that?
Cat showed up. Yo, the reason why they've been losing, to my point, has been Rudy and there's been a lot of Cat. Now, even though Cat makes some dumb plays sometimes with the fouls, which I can understand, offensively, he was amazing. He was, from early in the game, he was going straight to the to the cup, right? Going to the buckets. And then fourth quarter, he shot some threes here and there because he can shoot the three ball, but he was more aggressive in the paint and then playing defense. See, it's funny, like in sports, even in football and in basketball, when like the game first starts, you can see who has the juice. The first 3 games, I didn't see no juice from the Timberwolves like we've been seeing against the Suns, like we've been saying against Denver. Last night, they showed you that juice. Everybody got involved. The attitude was different. A guy like even Reed that shoots the ball well, 6th man of the year, right? When he got in the game, everything is to the cup. Like, they played more physical. It's the reason why they got to the free throw line more than the other team. If they play like this, I don't know, man. I do think they come back to Dallas, right? And I think eventually Dallas will finish it off. And I will give some credit to the Timberwolves as far as they're too good of a team for a team to beat them 4 times in a row. I can't see that. Now, I do still think the Mavs win this series. But if you look at the defense part, the way they play Kyrie, the way they play even Luka, they made some tough shots for him, and I think that I think we going to Game 6, man.
I feel that.
Game 6.
The Mavs are not a 4-0 better team than the T-Wolves.
No.
T-Wolves ain't lost 4 straight all season, including the playoffs, and they will not lose 4 straight now, obviously, unless they make it to the NBA Finals and things change. I think they'll make it a series, Joy Taylor. I think they'll make it a series, James Jones, because it should have always been a series, and you could argue it always was. It was a 3-point game. It was a 1-point game. It was a 9-point game. And now it's a 5-point game. You could say this whole thing has been a series. I mean, literally 3 of the 4 games have come down to free throws. Remember, if Luka Doncic hits one of those free throws at the end of the game, we sit here biting our fingernails. If Mike Conley, I believe it was Game 1 or Game 2, if he hits one of his free throws, now all of a sudden there's a chance for a tip out. They could get a bucket and they could go into overtime, or they could end up winning on a 3-point attempt. So it's been a series. Unfortunately, the series has just always gone in the Mavericks' favor thus far. Last night it went in the T-Wolves' favor. Remember, Kyrie Irving missed a couple pivotal free throws at the end of Game 2, I believe it was.
He's 90%
and
shooter.
that almost cost him. So this whole series has always been a series. It's just not reflective by record, but that's what I love about the NBA playoffs. Joy, you bring this up often. The NBA very uniquely is best of 7. You don't get that in March Madness. You don't get that in the NFL. You don't get that in college football playoffs. But the NBA very uniquely, you have a best of 7 series, so the best team will inevitably win. And I don't think the Mavs are 4 games better than the T-Wolves. We'll find out just how much better they are.
Yeah, I expect them to make it a series. I didn't think that this was over, not just because of, like pride and all of that. I don't think that the Mavs are that much better than the Timberwolves. But also, the Timberwolves are a defensive team, as Shady pointed out. So they're a defensive team. Their bigs have the ability to contribute at a very high level. Cat can shoot from 3. It's not like he had that horrible statistic of 4 of 32 because he just freaked out. Like, he usually makes those. That's why he kept shooting them. Like anyone else, he'd be like, hey, big dog, you see down there by the bucket? Don't leave there again. But he does usually make those, so he kept shooting them. Now they drop. But I do think they got back to fundamentals. The reason I thought that they were going to extend this series is because when you just settle down a little bit, do the things we did all season long. And go be aggressive. Cat, hit some of those threes that you're taking, because you're taking a lot of them. Some of them got to go down. If they're not going to go down, you need to go bang around in the paint. Rudy, make some plays. Everybody needs to contribute, and they played a really solid game. They didn't make them, even though they had some mistakes, they didn't let the Mavs take advantage of the mistakes the way that they did throughout the rest of the series. And that I think is really important. The Mavs have so many points off of turnovers that they're killing them on that. They are taking advantage of the Timberwolves' mistakes. They were able to get it done last night, but I'm not surprised. And I do think that they actually extend the series even further because I think it's going to go 6.
Y'all could call me crazy, but no, this ain't gonna be no series. No, because you were down 3-0. Now, if you would have started off and it was 2-1, and then the Mavericks went up 3-1, and you won this, and we go into Game 6, I can see that being a series. But down 0-3, and then to hear you start off by saying 155 teams have never come back for this. So for me, I'm sitting here right now, this series over. I don't know if it's tomorrow, I don't know if it's in Dallas, but it's over. So I don't necessarily want to sit here and say they can make it a series. If they win 2 games and lose in Dallas, I'm going to be like, y'all fault. Y'all fault. But we knew it was over. So with that being said, like, this series is done. It's over. It's been over when they went down 3-0. Only way I can see this being a series is if they find a way to get it to Game 7. But then we got some pressure.
Can we say this, though? Can we say the way they played, right, was different, right, as far as their approach? I haven't seen them be this aggressive since the last series against the Nuggets. Like, Ant-Man from the get-go, it was small things they were doing, like put him in the post, in the paint, right? I haven't seen him in the post all serious at all. And then his approach, like there was times when he would miss 2 or 3 shots in a row. That didn't matter. He kept shooting and kept shooting. Where before you would see him, okay, missing, okay, let's pass, let's see what happens. I've seen I've seen Ant-Man in a corner sometimes in the series. I'm like, what is he doing here? This time he wasn't. The ball was in his hand over and over again, and they made emphasis like, yo, we're going to live and die with Ant-Man shooting this ball. And that's how you win. Because now when you have them big 7-footers in there, when you missing, they can get second chance opportunities for rebounds, right? All the shooters been shooting the ball well. And then the last thing is the pressure. The Mavs is like a scoring team, right? Luka dominates the ball, Kyrie has his spurts, and they hit the shooters. But when you have all that extra pressure on the other side, when they're putting in their offense and displaying their offensive talents like they were doing, they haven't seen it all serious. So my thing is, for the Mavs, you got to keep scoring with us, though. Because we only talk about the Mavs scoring and the Timberwolves playing defense and going through Ant-Man. No. Last night, everybody was getting part of that scoring. Even Mike Conley. They joking about how old he is and all that. But, bro, he was putting up some buckets. So I love what I've seen.
That's the thing, though. Can they repeat this? I mean, Cat was 4 for 4 from 3. Can he?
Wait. Even a 4 for 5 from 3? But the cool thing is, yo, if you look at his real 3 balls, late in the third and all in the fourth, everything before that was to the cup, and ones and et cetera. So when you 7 foot, you got P.J. Washington guarding me, I'm not making it easy for you to shoot no more threes, dog. No, I'm going right to the paint.
To me, though, is the difference just the fact in my mind that they made shots? Sometimes, Shady, and let me ask you.
Which shots, though?
But let me ask y'all, though, because one of the biggest things I learned to hate over the course of my sports career, I learned to hate it is when you change the narrative around the conversation because of the outcome. You often hear this in football. Man, this team ain't tough. It's not a lack of toughness. They just weren't in their gaps. That's why they ran for 200 yards. It's not like I didn't want to tackle Shady. I'm just not athletic enough. They're not tough. Their run defense isn't not toughness. So, Shady, when I hear this conversation, I'm asking myself, okay, Ant tried to do in Game 3 what he did yesterday. Yesterday, he was 11 for 25. Game 3, he was 11 for 24. Yesterday, he shot 8 free throws. Game 3, he shot 6 free throws. He tried to do it. It just wasn't as efficient. Cat tried to do it. Obviously, to your point, Cat shot way too many threes. He was 4 of 32 in the first 3 games. He tried to do it, but yesterday they fell. Yesterday, he shot 5 threes. The game before, I believe he shot like 6 or 7 threes. Or no, I believe he shot 8 threes. But yesterday, they fell. To me, I'm wondering, like, is it just a matter of if the shots will fall or not?
For example, look how many and ones was displayed yesterday from Cat. Right? Think about that, though. How many times you see Cat on the perimeter just waiting for a 3 ball, spot up? No. Ant-Man, all the consistent pressure. Pick and rolls, I ain't passing. Going right to the cup, foul, and one in the cup. So when I hear what you're saying, my only pushback is, like, what shots are we talking about he made? Because, yeah, you can make shots, because, like, I mean, great players are going to shoot, they're going to make shots, right? But what shots are you making? Because it's a percentage. They always talk about getting to my spot.
Right.
And last night, they all got to their spots.
But it's also a matter of, like, if Cat was 4 for 32 and he never takes threes, we have a problem. You don't shoot threes at all, so you should not be doing that. But Cat is a great 3-point shooter. So if they're not fouling and then they start fouling, well, that's not us overreacting to it. It's okay. Your shot is falling now. So if they had some over-the-top, performance that we've never seen them do in the history of them being together as a team, okay, cool. Maybe this is an outlier performance. But they got back to doing what they do.
Right.
So it's not so much that their shots were falling or not falling. Yeah, sometimes you're going to have an off night. But did they have a night where we're like, okay, this is they made a historic amount of threes in the postseason? Okay. Maybe they're not going to do that again. But they can repeat what they did last night.
And she said, real quick, she talked about earlier, getting back to the basics. We all know that terminology, though, bro. Right? I might have 200 yards one game, right? I'm feeling myself. The ball's high and all that, right? At my fumble two. Yo, you're a great player.
High and tight.
High and tight. Get back to the basics. Think about that as the terminology.
Here's my question for you, though, 2-5, because I remember I played with you, obviously, in Philadelphia, and you rarely kept the ball high and tight, but you rarely ever fumbled.
That's true.
So you can't overcoach Shady too much, because Shady, the ball was always going to be out here, but he was going to make you miss. He was going to do what he does. My thought process is like, remember yesterday's show? We don't have to pull up the footage. If you weren't watching, I'll remind you. We were saying, Cat, stop shooting threes.
Yeah.
But if Cat would have stopped shooting threes yesterday, they probably don't win a game.
No. He didn't shoot that many threes.
Shot 5 of them, 4 for 5.
But when, though? See, that's my thing, though, right? Like it's the difference between shooting threes, you just shoot them over and over again. You still miss, you keep shooting them? No. He started the game out hot, getting in the rhythm. So when I talk about getting in the rhythm, when I talk about getting back to the basics, small things like, okay, I want to get to the outside, right? I want to get a one-on-one because you know what's going to happen. I'm going to mix him up. But, hey, I got to do what the coach tell me, the basics. Hit it inside a couple times, pause. Hit it inside a couple times. Okay, now I'm going to bounce out. Cat did that. I got comfortable. I got the rhythm. I see some shots go in.
Every time.
They always say with basketball players, this is my little study with basketball players. If my shot's not going in, I got to start see it going in. And that means going to the cup, and ones, layups. Now I say go. So now I'm comfortable shooting a three ball. And that's what Cat did last night.
Well, the last night, obviously, the Mavs could not close it out. The Mavs would have loved, and it would have behooved them to close it out because the NBA Finals don't start until next Thursday. Celtics chilling, family. Celtics closed out the Pacers in 4. Not only that, the Celtics beat the Cavs before that in 5. Not only that, the Celtics beat the Heat before that in 5. So the Celtics have relatively strolled, maybe skipped, if you will, to the NBA Finals. Meanwhile, the Mavericks look like they might end up being in a dogfight. Not yet, but it looks like it. Joy, do you think the Mavs will regret not closing out the team?
I think it's too soon to tell, right? Because the series isn't over and we don't know what's going to happen in the finals. So we could maybe fast forward to the end and see what this did. But I don't like extra games for multiple reasons. One, the guys that are available are going to be more fatigued. You're playing more basketball. And you're going up against a team that is resting. If the Celtics were still playing, I don't even think this is worth talking about. But they aren't. They're resting. They're rehabbing. They're chilling, watching you. So that is every day that you play longer, that's the more tired you are, the more pound of flesh. And this is a very physical defensive team that you're playing as well. So this is not finesse back and forth. Like, you are going to be more fatigued doing that. You want to close them out as quickly as possible. The other part is obviously injuries. Like, the more games you play, the more risk that somebody is going to be out. And obviously no one wants that. Knock on wood, we want to see all the stars, but this is the reality. Like, the more games that you're playing, I don't want to say unnecessarily because you need to win them, and this is Western Conference Finals, but that is also a risk as well. I don't want to get too far into the weeds. You've said it already how many times now? It's 155-0. Like, the teams do not come back from being down 3-0. But you get to 6. You don't know what's going to happen. One day that is going to be broken. It never happened before that someone came down from 3-1, and what happened? One day they did it. And there were circumstances that led to that happening. So you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're playing more games. I think it's too soon to tell how much it matters, but it's never a good thing.
So they got to win 4 in a row?
4 in a row.
See, the only thing is that's hard for me, though, because, like, Kyrie Irving ain't going to miss them shots like he missed, right?
Is Kyrie, I believe he was 14-0 in closeout games prior to yesterday.
I just think that the Mavs are too good of a team, right?
Exactly.
Now, I will say this, though. If both teams are playing an A+ game, I favor the Timberwolves, right? Size, length, right? I size all that. Athleticism, all that. But
over there, though,
I can't see them beating them 4, because the Mavs are a good team. 4 times in a row, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
But what do you make of the fatigue? Because Boston's resting.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, this was my thing with the fatigue part, right? Because we both are tired. Now, I think one team that's rested, I think that helps them out. But I've also been on teams where, man, I didn't like always having a bye week, right? Because you kind of get rusty. Now, Luka, now the difference is from fatigue to injuries. Right? Now, if you injured, now I think, okay, you need to rest. But if you fatigue, you won't get over that because this team is chilling. We all been on bye weeks, bro. And look, I know we relaxing and all that. We're not practicing super hard. You eating bad food, you relaxing, right? And you got to knock the rust off.
There is, and you know this obviously as a businessman at the desk, there is the law of diminishing returns, where a good thing eventually becomes a bad thing, right? Like you can hydrate till you have waterlogged. Wait, but I thought hydrating was a good thing. Yeah, there comes a point where it's no longer a good thing. Having rest is great. We all know that in sports. But eventually, there's something about rhythmic. There's something about timing. There's something about tendencies. If the Celtics end up sitting for 9 days, which I believe they will end up sitting for, the Mavs would have a competitive advantage if the Mavs sit for 4, if the Mavs sit for 5. But if the Mavs can only sit for 1 or 2, now all of a sudden it turns.
But that's if the Mavs are healthy, and that's why it scares me, because Luka's knee is banged up. You see Luka out there hobbling, right? Porzingis is resting right now. He's going to have an opportunity to come back. Like, the Boston Celtics are going to be really fresh. Lively already out. So you guys are banged up. Usually when you're looking at your football schedule, if you got a bye week, week 5, you're like, dang, after week 5, we got
to go to distance.
10, 15 games. You know what I'm saying? Somebody get hurt. So if you're going into the bye week, week 10, and you're like, we about to get some people back, that's what you want. You want to finish this out so Luka can rest, Lively can rest, and you can get to the finals healthy. Right now, they are banged up. And that is not a good thing going into the finals.
What about them teams where, like, guys are banged up, right? And they have all this time off, and they're finally healthy, and they may take a little time, and then they come back to the lineup, and they look rusty, look bad, right? That's why you always see these coaches, when guys are hurt and they come back healthy, they start them off the bench. We seen Steph Curry do this.
Championship year.
Right? Kawhi Leonard. We see him come back. They look different. They say, you know what? Hold up, man. We look better without you. So what I'm saying is, I get what you're saying, but sometimes, man, when you have too much rest, I'll give you an example. I remember having, like, the bye weeks, right? And you come back, now you are more rested, right? You are more healthier. But, damn, it's first play. I'm tired.
Breathing heavy,
You know, I'm like, hey, DJ, you tired? I'm tired. That's part of it, though.
Then again,
this muscle memory thing is real. When you be tired and you find a way to get through the game, how did I do that? Muscle memory. Compared to, I ain't do nothing all week, and I get out there, right, and they running around still, and I'm tired, you feel that.
It depends how you're going into that bye week, too. If you're going into that bye week and you like, man, offensive line rolling, I got a rhythm with the offensive line, we playing really, really well, then you don't really want a bye week. But if you struggling, you're like, ooh, that bye week got to go. We got to do some adjustment.
The Celtics work. The Celtics are rolling.
That's what I'm saying. So we good
really
going into this bye week.
You've skipped past all your opponents.
They've been rolling.
5 wins, 4 wins. Celtics probably don't even need them 8, 9 games off. Like, the Celtics have been good. We will see how it plays out.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.